Good evening. This is really funny about.
Good evening. It is Monday, April 28th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the Susan Tully Lodgely Boardroom of the 1887 building. I'd like to start the meeting out by saying the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and Mr. Tavon, would you take roll call, please?
Mr. Andre,
Here.
Peter Gordon,
Here.
Mrs. Ingersoll,
Here.
Mrs. Costock will be joining us online, just running a few minutes late. Mrs. Reckles,
Here.
Mr. Scarrow,
Here.
Mrs. Vaughn.
Here.
Ms. Corpus.
Here.
And Mr. Jaime Sarabian.
Here.
We have a quorum. The next portion is the community participation. Normally I read a statement, but I only have one submission for someone to speak, and she's very familiar with the with the statement. So I'm gonna abstain from doing that, and Ellen Holly, if you would come forward.
Hello. Been out of town a couple weeks, so sorry to miss meetings, but you know, when I'm here in town, I'm here. This is a thank you. I want to thank the school board for their hard work with the referendum. Mr. Andre in particular. I would like to have the opportunity to welcome Mrs. Vaughn to the school board and welcome back Mr. Scarrow, marvelous. I would also like to publicly thank the many teachers, staff, parents, community members who worked very, very hard on the referendum. And that was my only disappointment of that evening. And that was a tough one. And please know that I'm here to help and to any way I can, always. And just wanted to thank you, because after hiking in California for a week, I'm very chill and very grateful. So nice to see everybody.
I would also like to welcome Mrs. Vaughn to the board. Welcome to have you, and congratulations to Mr. Scarrow for winning re-election.
Thank you.
So the first thing on the agenda is the options charter school student presentation.
Good evening. My name is Jess Riley. I am the high school principal at Options, and I have with me Bella and Lily, who will come up and give their piece shortly. Did you want me to click? So you don't have to?
No.
Okay, all right.
Just like that. I'll
All right, I wanted to just give you a few updates on options before we start. And in a virtual school, it can be really hard to have a student presentation because our students are all across the state of Wisconsin. And so one of the ways that we've tried to connect is really by finding the students in their home and what makes them comfortable. And you here have one of our students who leads our Create Club, Carson, there, and you can see what it looks like to be an Options Virtual Charter School student on a daily basis. This year alone, I wanted to let you know a few celebrations. This year alone, our students have accomplished 570 college credits.
Wow.
When we're talking about a high school that ranges, it fluctuates as it should, anywhere from 115 to 140 students. That's quite a large number. Current enrollment is around 144. We maintained 25 new open enrolled students this year, and 66% of our overall student population is open enrollment. Because our students come from all over, I wanted to show you where they're going. So these next two slides are about our seniors. So I had seniors fill out a survey and meet with Becca Kunitomo and Chandler Kaiser to talk a little bit about their future and where our seniors are going. So we have students who are continuing their education, a lot of times in the colleges that they've had experience working with. So we have a big portion of our students going to Gateway, Green Bay, and UW schools. But we have some also going far. So we have students going from Manatee Technical College, Florida College, Coastal Carolina, the University of Chicago, Minnesota. And so students really taking the initiative of going to a school far away from their home, and now they're going to college far away from their home. So pretty exciting. And these are just a few. But then we also have a good portion of our students who are entering either the workforce or training entrepreneurship type pathways. We have students that are working because of degrees that they've already accomplished with us, are going right into construction and building careers, industries like being mechanic, diesel mechanic, which I've learned a lot about this year. I had no idea how important they are. Cheer for the diesel mechanics of the world. Lots of nursing assistants, tech vets, and farming. Our presentation today is really about how could I show the board a little bit about our students that you don't get to see on a daily basis. And so we have student stories. So we're going to highlight throughout this presentation some student stories. And first off, I'd like to start with Weston. Weston is in our top right corner. And I chose him out of pure bias because I was his Sunday school teacher. And so I was Weston's Sunday school teacher. I was his 6th grade social studies teacher. And when I found out that I got the blessing of being the principal at Options, that same day, Weston's mom said, hey, we're going to this new school, Options, have you heard of it? As a matter of fact, I have. He, not only because of his wildly brilliant ACT score, but his work getting college credits, he was accepted to the University of Minnesota Twin Cities. However, because of the work and the courses that you allowed him to take now, he is an early enrollee in the aerospace engineering program, fully accepted into that program, does not have to take the prerequisites, apply for the program, and go through the interview process.
Wow, that's amazing.
Pretty cool. On the left-hand side, you'll see Mrs. Lena. She was named Teacher of the Month for the NARIN organization. So we're pretty proud of that. Only 7 to 8 teachers a year are selected in the state of Wisconsin for that honor. And what she is showing here is how we try to connect our older students to Trisha's younger students and making them kind of a school community of itself. Our older students worked in our school forest this year to create a fort. And they worked on the trees, eradicating poison ivy, poison oak, and things like that, so the kids could play in there and be safe and have fun. So this is Mrs. Lena showing off the starting point of their fort. Here we have university pathways that we had students attend this year. So UW-Whitewater, Green Bay, Madison, Rock County, and Mariannantha Baptist. Technical college pathways that we have students enrolled in currently: Gateway, Waukesha, Northwood, Fox Valley, MATC, Black Hawk, Midstate, and Northeast. And on the right-hand side, you'll see those are just some of the programming that we have students in right now. Everything from welding, like I said, aerospace engineering, music production. We have a senior right now who she does her schooling during the day, during the morning with us. She does her college experience in the afternoon, and she is at every festival, every restaurant, singing, playing her guitar, and displaying the music that she's created herself. So she's got a full day.
I think this really highlights when we created the name of Options, and we wanted to show that it has a diverse slate of different pathways, things that we do. We actually started out Options with the capital O and the P for opportunities and possibilities, but it got really annoying that everybody just thought that we misspelled or miscapitalized the second letter, so we went away from that, but it's really reflective of that. Thanks for highlighting.
Right. One of the things I did with my staff very early on when we started is vision and mission planning. And a really just quick short story is I had met with all the staff when I got the position, and I asked them everything from what do you love about your job, what do you love about the school, what opportunities do you see that they can grow. And it really helped me define who we were and where we could go with the talent that we had. First week of school, Mrs. Lena asked if I wanted to go for a walk with her. we went to rock and she's like, I asked you because I want to show you something. And she goes, do you know that District Office and Options Property are one of the last two spots in Walworth County that have a fully mature and healthy sycamore tree? I did not know that. And she said when they were working on building or remodeling options, there was some concern that the sycamore would have to go. And she hugged that tree right in front of me and she said, it's still here. And she said, this is who we are. We're the balance of Elkhorn tradition and Elkhorn possibility. And so we don't have a vision or a mission. We have our sycamore. And our sycamore is the roots that keep us tied to Elkhorn and Elkhorn's mission, branching out to new opportunities and possibilities. With that, we made goals. And I just wanted to share one goal specifically with you based on the profile of a graduate. In 2026, we'll increase work-based learning by 20%, and by 2028, 40% of our students will take dual credit courses. These goals were made in August, the in-service before we started the first day of school. We have accomplished those goals.
Awesome.
So we gotta go back to the drawing board. But I am proud. My staff, Becca and Chandler, work very hard at specifically this navigator piece. So you can see just where we're going. Now I'd like to introduce you to two students who I've had the pleasure of knowing from middle school to options that are going to talk to you a little bit about their experience.
Good evening, my name is Bella. I am currently a junior at Options Virtual Charter School. I've always believed I had the potential to be a strong student, but for a while, life challenges and big changes held me back from going the way I knew I could. I realized I needed a fresh start, a new environment where I could focus on my future. When I saw that students I knew were finding success at Options and learned that Mrs. Kate and Mrs. Riney were part of the team here, I knew I would be surrounded by people who believed in me and would support me along the way. Options has been a great fit for me because of the flexibility it offers. I'm able to focus on my coursework in the mornings and early afternoons, and then head to my job at Mama T's, where I work as a server. One of the things I appreciated the most is the ability to take classes that actually align with my interests. I especially enjoy my medical terminology and intro to nursing courses. Being able to personalize my learning and dive into subjects I'm passionate about has helped me grow both as a student and as a person. As I look to the future, I plan to attend Florida State College in Jacksonville, Florida. My dream is to become a neonatal nurse and help care for premature babies. It's a path I'm excited and proud to work toward. I would absolutely recommend Options for other students. The flexible schedule gives you the chance to explore jobs and personal passions outside the school. For something that's much harder to do in a traditional setting. I also want to give a special thank you to my friend Lily, who helped me transition to virtual learning and has been such an amazing support system. She holds me accountable when I need it and always finds a way to encourage me to keep moving forward.
And then this is Lily.
Good evening, my name is Lily and I'm proud to say I am a senior at Options Virtual Charter School. I chose Options because traditional school wasn't the right fit for me. I struggled to stay engaged both academically and socially, and the in-person environment left me feeling disconnected. My family and I knew I needed something different, a place where I could learn in a way that worked for me. That search led me to Options and it truly became a place I could call home. One of the biggest reasons Options worked so well for me was the incredible support from the teachers. Miss Lena especially made such a difference in my journey. She is kind, caring, and always willing to help, no matter what challenges you're facing. Even if I found myself falling behind, she met me with nothing but positivity and encouragement. She built a relationship with me that motivated me to push through tough moments and celebrate my successes. I owe so much of my growth and achievement to her. Thanks to the flexibility of Options, I was able to balance school, work, and personal growth. I currently work as a barista at Starbucks, and having the freedom to design my own school schedule taught me valuable time management skills. It allowed me to juggle my classes, my job, and still maintain a social life, lessons I'll carry with me into the future. I'm excited to share that next year I'll be attending Arizona State University to study psychology. The work experience I gained during my time at Options opened doors to me. I advanced enough at Starbucks that they will be covering my college tuition. My ultimate goal is to become a therapist and help others just as so many people have helped me.
Options gave me the chance to fall in love with learning again. The transition wasn't easy, but the growth I've experienced has been worth every challenge. Personal learning isn't for everyone, but for me, it was the perfect path. I'm proud of what I have accomplished here. And I'm grateful for Options for helping me reach a future I'm really excited about.
So hopefully through your message, you can see that, no, virtual learning is not the right fit for all students. Sometimes we have to have those difficult conversations with parents about that, but it is for many. And my continuous journey to trying to find those students brings us to some of our marketing initiatives. One of our ideas this year, along with Mrs. Spendy and Chris Trottier, was Options Virtual Charter School Scoop. So once a month, we go online and we provide a show that hopefully highlights our students or our programming. If you haven't seen our last one, it has over 3,000 views. It was kind of our year in review. And so it went through our progress this year, some stories and some programming. Mrs. Kunitomo really is a unique position at our school, but part of her role is finding opportunities outside of Options and making and connecting us to that. And so we did a Fox 6 Milwaukee special where I don't want to toot our own horn, but we did it in one take. And they said that hasn't happened in years.
Yeah.
Yes. Flyers, we did our Racine marketing campaign, really just trying to be, when people think of virtual remote learning, I want Options to be the first word they think of next. We have been growing online with reviews and things like that, and I like to survey our students and our families often. And so I put on here, just for your viewing at a later date, some things that people are saying. But in short, supportive teachers is always the number one thing, and that's hard. It's hard to develop a relationship with a student that's not right in front of you, that you can't pull in at the cafeteria and say, you did not turn in your English assignment, come with me. And so it's really, really, really challenging. The level of communication that it requires is something I had no idea until entering this world. Flexible schedule and the support that always came along with the support of the Elkhorn School District in providing that flexibility and opportunity, as well as academic growth, that students that sometimes were bored and feeling unchallenged in a traditional setting, getting in trouble maybe, or just zoning out, found this to be more engaging. A few more stories for you. Our top left, Mrs. Spendy worked with Anison for a while now. Anison is a student of ours who transitioned into a youth apprenticeship. She works with our youngest students, and I am not just saying this because she is my student. Trisha, I feel like you can back me up on this. If you walked into that classroom and you saw her with those students, you would think she was a licensed veteran teacher. That's how good she is. Those teachers, those students see her as a leader. It's quite remarkable. I also want to give a shout out to Esmond Electric. They are working with one of our students right now who was an average student. He would tell Mrs. Kunitomo, I know, I gotta get it done, I'll get it done, relax. The minute he started his YA with Esmond Electric, it just lit joy in his learning, and he wants to be an electrician, and it's just like such a cool experience to talk with him now about how much this connection with the workforce has done for him. Certificates that have been accomplished this year are basic cooking, business essentials, and horticulture basics. We have technical diplomas this year in culinary assistant, medical assistant, and nursing assistant, and associate degrees in culinary arts and a few other career focus. In the bottom left, you'll see two students, Kayla Mickle. She works at Lambeau Field. So during the day, she goes to school and takes college courses to be a nurse. And in the evening, she serves food at a restaurant in Lambeau Field. Then we have Noah, and I want to highlight Noah. He attained 62 college credits in the area of math and science, because you guys say that I'm gonna support that pathway for students. Because of that, at the University of Wisconsin Whitewater, not only was his aptitude and intelligence recognized, but just how unique this was to have a student of this caliber in high school taking our courses. They chose him to assist them in research on photoelectric effect and actually go to other places and symposiums and present this material. That resume is the reason why, and his hard work, of course, he's going to the University of Chicago in physics.
Wow.
All right, one of our other areas of being a graduate is being a critical thinker. And so as you know, we've touched a little bit with the board, especially at the beginning of the year, our transition to Canvas. We are deep in that at this time. It's going really well. We've transitioned from excited, super nervous, panicking, and we're now thriving. We're having a lot of fun building our courses. And I think what my teachers are realizing is just how much more they're going to be able to support students, create even more flexibility, but also, as you guys know, build the relationships in a virtual world that's challenging, but just as important. And what's next? We have the Rising Phoenix program with UW Green Bay. We are a preferred partner, and that has been already a hit. We currently, a week and a half ago, they sent out the first round of acceptance letters. All Elkhorn students were accepted. All Elkhorn students are from northern or eastern Wisconsin. So it's pretty cool, and give a shout out to Green Bay because they have been nothing but excellent to work with. We will have students in 3 new programs to us next year: the EMT Emergency Medical Technician, Fire Science, Advanced Manufacturing, Rising Phoenix, of course. And then I hope to come back in the fall and talk to you guys a little bit about our Next Level Scholars Academy. One thing that I want to always make sure that we're doing is creating equitable experiences for our students. I was raised by a single mom who did not go to college, but she was able to take care of my family because she had an internship in high school that allowed her to be an administrative assistant at an elementary school. And she grew that up to be a chief operating officer of a company in Elkhorn. So a pretty cool story, which brought me to the Next Level Scholars. Are we making sure that all students, regardless of if they're first generation or not, they can afford it or not, have access to college courses, AP courses, certification courses, so that everyone can really have a generational uplift? And so our Next Level Scholars, titled Your Path, Your Passion, Your Next Level, is aimed at partnering with districts or CSAs across the state of Wisconsin, providing them with courses that the Elkhorn Area School District will create and put on so that students from all over can participate, not only with our excellent teachers, our excellent instruction, but with the support of the school board. That's it. Look at that. Any questions for me?
Yeah, you just blew us away.
Well, thank you. This is my first year being principal, and I always said as an assistant principal, I will never be a principal. I liked being the sidekick, but I have a good sidekick, Ms. Fendi. So I really appreciate this, and thank you for the blessing that was in this job.
Thank
I-
you.
I would like to just share and highlight as well. I think they did a fantastic job of celebrating, showcasing those opportunities, which are really limitless there, and to see the things that some of our kids have achieved while going through options. Literally, you can get that education and still attend the highest level institutions in the country. We had a former student alum who was accepted to Cal Berkey's elite economics program. We've had the first electrical engineering associate's degree that was ever earned by a high school student at Gateway was an option student several years ago. I think what else is neat is we've had world-class ballet dancers who can't who have to travel around the country, world-class wrestlers who went to Olympic training centers and completed their education there. But I think something else that fits a niche that we can't do in any other model is also service kids who have had tremendous struggles in life to where they've been removed from their home school district with no other educational opportunity. And Jess and her team as well gets those students across the finish line, where just accomplishing that high school diploma leaves their families, their social workers, sometimes their probation officer in tears and very grateful. And I know, several years ago, we worked with Amy Lautenbach to get the law changed, because there used to be a cap that for open enrollment, you could only apply for 3 districts. And what a lot of families found is their student would get expelled from school. And then they would apply, and if they were rejected by 3 districts, that was it. They couldn't apply again that year. So that law was changed and exception made in particular for options in our program, so that, there was no limit on virtual school that students could come. So I just wanted to recognize that tremendous work as well, that they truly hit the full spectrum and everything in between on servicing the students. And that's a tremendous effort, sometimes much more challenging than the high flyers who are going into the astrophysics or whatever, but just as valuable. Thank you, Jess.
And I just wanted to say
And
to the 2 students that presented, you did an amazing job. And we are super proud of what you accomplished and what you're going on to do. And when you first stood up, I couldn't think, I'm like, I know her from somewhere, and I can't think where, and then you said you worked at Mama T's, I'm like, of course. You waited several times, and you do a wonderful job there too.
And I would just add a big thank you to Tricia for her years of guidance with that program, and just a reminder to the community and the public. It's amazing that we can offer all of this, yet we're generating positive revenue for the rest of the school district.
Yes.
through having this program be operates, so.
Oh, thank you all very much, it was a great presentation. Okay. Moving on to the election of school board officers. So, the way this is gonna work is that, I will, ask for nominations for the office of president. And each time that I ask for nominations, I'll ask 3 times. If there's only 1 nomination, then, we can ask for a motion to close the nominations. But if there is more than 1 nomination, then that will be passed for, by secret ballot, and Mr. Tavok has, some sticky notes that we can use with that.
Super secret.
I'd like to nominate Julia Ingersoll for president.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Second.
Third.
are there any other nominations?
I move to close the nominations.
Okay, it's been moved,
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to close the nominations. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? And now we can. What happens now? Because that was closing the nominations.
Yeah, now you're running vice president.
Oh, we just move
They
on
just,
to,
they just approved that nomination. Eric Gordon closed it.
Right.
And Ed seconded the closing, and then they all just unanimously approved.
okay, so we don't have to like do an official vote on the,
Like
okay,
that was it.
all right. Okay, so, thank you for your continued confidence in me. Sometimes I know what I'm doing and sometimes I don't. So we'll move on to, I would like some nominations for, the office of vice president.
I'll move to nominate Ed.
I second.
Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations?
You just want to close it and keep going. Yeah, can I,
Yes,
before you
can.
say the 3 things?
Yes.
Okay, I move to close nominations.
Okay, that's been moved, and is there a second to close the nom?
I second Kathy.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. It's been moved and seconded to close the nominations for office of vice president. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay. Thank you, Ed, for continuing to serve as vice president. Let's move on to the office of treasurer. Looking for nominations for the office of treasurer.
I nominate Adam.
Are there any other nominations?
Let's get a second. I'll
Oh.
second that.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations?
I move to close nominations.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to close the nominations for treasurer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, I should have asked if you were
Sure.
going to accept.
I accept.
Okay, moving on to nominations for the office of clerk. Is
Nominate Heather.
there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any other nominations?
I move to close nomination.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to close the nominations for the office of clerk. Do you accept?
I accept.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and then would like nominations for the office of deputy clerk.
I'd like to nominate Kathy Costa.
Okay,
That'd be clear.
is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved in are there any other nominations? Any other nominations?
I move to close nomination.
Okay,
I'll second it.
it's been moved and seconded to close the nominations for office of deputy clerk. Kathy, do you accept?
I do.
Okay. Then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, there we go. Thank you, everyone. Okay, next is the approval of intergovernmental agreement with Williams Bay School District.
This is a continuation of the intergovernmental agreement that we've had with them, the contract for Options Virtual School. They do a direct contract with us so that their students can access the services while remaining Williams-based students. So we are their provider for the virtual charter school.
And this is something we approve every year, correct?
Is it an annual or by?
I think it was
Two-
by.
two-
Oh, it's by every other year, okay. And other than dates, everything has remained the same? There's been no other changes to
I
the,
have one question
okay,
on. Hang on, sorry. At the very beginning, under number 1, it says now therefore, blah, 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 blah. And it describes the school as K-12. And then on number 13, it says for K-12.
okay,
It should, yep, it should be 4K. My guess is on the original one, we didn't have 4K at the time.
Yeah,
And we
so-
probably didn't catch that earlier.
So does that need to have some kind of written amendment or anything like that?
And then there was a slight change to the agreement that Williams Bay also agreed to. We specified that it was for virtual schooling. Whereas, you know, we have some other programs within options that are face-to-face part-time.
okay, so their students are only virtual?
Correct.
Got it, and that's a change from previous years,
It just wasn't specified,
okay.
so we just wanted to.
So their
bring it
students have always just been virtual, but we
If
just
they
never
choose-
specified it.
Right, if they choose to come for more in-person opportunities, they open.
Okay, got it.
This is providing virtual.
This is providing, okay, all right. Thank you for clarifying that.
Change the titles.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Clerk's name.
Oh,
Oh,
and the
thank you,
signature.
Ed. I didn't catch that.
Just the clerk is.
Yep. Oh.
Change that. So
Oh, right. Yes, so we'll have to change the name of it. I think we can just cross it out, right? And write in.
I can,
It was the same, he was added.
What was the change at? I missed it.
the clerk listed Adam Andre, but because of our approval date, he's no longer the clerk.
She's the treasurer.
Heather is now the clerk.
Gotcha.
Did you just sign a bunch of stuff?
Well, I didn't put my name on it, but it
So
was.
we can strike it in
We can
William's
strike it.
papers.
So you want me to sign this or not sign it?
We'll strike it and put Heather's
Yeah.
name on it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. All right,
Heather signed the minutes then? Is she
Yes.
officially the clerk?
Mhm.
Okay.
unless you'd already signed it before you were.
I always
But
wait
you're
till
all right.
everybody approves it.
Okay. All right, any other questions on the agreement? Good observation.
Okay, so just looking for a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve the intergovernmental agreement, Williams Bay School District as modified.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the intergovernmental agreement with Williams Bay School District as modified. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Motion passes. Next we have our 2024. Why is it 2024? 2024 to 2027 EASD Future Ready Library Plan.
All right, I have just a short introduction. I'm Amy Jean, our K-6 Director of Instruction, and I had the privilege of working with our fabulous library media team to put this plan together. So tonight, we're very pleased to share with you our Future Ready Library Plan. This plan provides specific goals and guidance in 8 areas. I believe the information you received is the actual plan, and what we're sharing with you right now is just an overview of what that plan will entail. So basically, the plan is set up to align our district's goals and priorities with the annual funding that we receive so that everything's moving in the right direction and in the best interest of our students here in Elkhorn. Once this plan receives board approval, which we hope is this evening, it will then be uploaded into the WISE portal, and it will be our plan for the next 3 years to just kind of give that direction that we need. And then DPI is also aware of the direction, our goals, and how this is all aligned. I do want to take a moment to thank this dynamic group of 5 individuals. We are truly blessed to have them in our district providing instruction in so many different ways at all of our brick and mortar buildings. They work endless hours, and then on top of that, we had this document to put together. So countless in-service hours trying to coordinate between buildings K-12. And I think in the end, this is an amazing plan that they have pulled together and are sharing with you this evening. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the floor over to them, let them introduce themselves, and they will take you within our library media program. So.
We have 3 elementary library media specialists. I'm one of them. I work out at Tibbetts. I'm Rhonda Gillette.
Kari Sexy, I work at Westside Elementary.
And I'm Karen Lang. I'm at Jackson Elementary. And this slide here just kind of gives you an overview of what our spaces look like and some different activities that go on in our buildings. As you can see, the library is not a quiet place anymore.
And I'm Courtney Mulkey. I'm the library media specialist at the middle school. You can see on the right side of the screen is the middle school library and some opportunities that I know you learned about earlier this year, such as iDiscover, students involved in the inquiry process, Battle of the Books.
I'm Rebecca Blum. I am at the high school library.
Ours is a little different. We are more quiet in our library because we have all of our online students and our AP prep students working in there. So we have a classroom off of our library, which is the Cube, also known as Makerspace. And that's where all the fun and excitement happens. So there's pictures of both spaces in there. Also, we have some lovely ladies up there showcasing our popcorn. And that's an additional way we make money for consumables for that fun space.
So as Amy mentioned, per the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction, every school district is required to have a 3 to 5 year plan outlining the goals for library programming. So that's what we're here to talk about today. Our plan follows the Wisconsin State Information Literacy Standards, as well as the American Association of School Library Standards and the International Society for Technology and Education Standards.
In addition to that, we also align with their district goals. We support digital learning, as you saw in the first slides, all the activities we do. A lot of the things like at the elementary level, we have Book Creator, we have different digital resources for the kids. Empower students, it empowers students to become active learners and creators. They are very engaged when we do anything with robotics. Fosters critical thinking, problem solving. One of the things that the kids were very proud of, they came up with, it was somebody's birthday, and they programmed a robot to write out that student's name for his birthday. So, it enhances the role of all of us. We're not only educators, we're librarians, we're instructional leaders, and our first goal is to advocate for student learning. As you saw, our space is very flexible. Sometimes I have traditional hard chairs but we also have soft seating. We can move things around as needed. Last week I had a book fair, but I also had classes, so everything, it's whatever is needed by the students.
So as you're, of course, well aware, our mission statement is all about providing challenging experiences for students to ultimately allow them to excel as respectful, responsible, productive citizens. And the goal of any library is really to promote lifelong learning. So that is really like the cornerstone of everything that we do. So as far as our vision statement, it's to provide diverse learning experiences for all students to either continue with their love of reading, to find their love of reading, to explore new technologies, as well as ultimately becoming critical users of information. So through innovation on inquiry, collaboration, and literacy, our goal is ultimately to create students who are lifelong global contributors and communicators. And then also, as Amy said, this wheel is called the Future Ready Framework. And at the center of it, you'll see it all is geared around personalized student learning. So today we decided to just focus on a few of these wedges that we felt would maybe be the most interesting to hear in a presentation. But once you go through the PDF that you've all received, every single wedge has different goals for every single domain. And it'll include where we've been as libraries as well as where we're going as libraries.
Right, I'm gonna talk about budget. So something that is very unique to Wisconsin is that we are the only state in the country with dedicated funding for library resources, which was established by the Wisconsin Constitution, and it's known as Common School funding. And I want to take a moment to thank Bill Truen for all of his work. And every year we get these funds, and he is in charge of reviewing those out to buildings based on our student population.
It's a fun job.
And it's our state has funded so far our libraries very well. So we are very lucky. So our goal that we have in our document, we have things that we have been doing well, and then we have some things for possible growth. So our overall goal is to create a comprehensive budget for print and digital resources, tools, technology, and a flexible learning environment. By leveraging an understanding of school and community needs, we aim to identify and invest in resources that support student learning. We will involve our stakeholders in the planning and budgeting process for resources, and follow our Common School Fund guidelines to ensure efficient and effective resource management. So Common School Funds do come with some parameters and guidelines that we need to follow as media specialists to ensure that that funding is spent appropriately. I know many of us are kind of on hold. We have several orders ready to go out, and for the elementaries, we're just waiting to see, you know, what it will happen with our buildings next year. We gotta make sure those funds are spent appropriately for whatever grade levels are in our buildings.
And yeah, so to be clear, because those funds are specified, it's locked into. It protects them from when districts are having financial issues, you can't take those and apply
Yes.
them somewhere else. So they stay with that resource, so it's more of just waiting. What's our structure, what's it gonna look like?
Yeah.
Okay, now we know what to go ahead and purchase.
Yeah, I just like our stakeholders, who's gonna be in our building, we wanna make sure those funds are spent.
I just wanna be clear for, if anyone's out there watching, oh, why don't you take some of the common school funds to balance your budget? You can't do that. It's for the library stuff.
And using those common school funds, we're able to build a lot of community partnerships. Our goal is to strengthen community engagement and resource accessibility by continuing to collaborate with the Matheson Memorial Library for interlibrary loans and actively participating in family events such as book fairs, Maker Fest, STEAM Night, Book Cafe, and Battle of the Books, just some of the programs that you probably noticed pictures of. You've probably seen us on Facebook advertising on our family engagement nights. We just had a STEAM night last Thursday, and we had the VR goggles were accessible and a lot of different coding activities and robotics. And parents were learning right along with their children. It was really, really cool. So that's our goal with the community.
So for this one, our goal, I think when we met together, we kind of came to the realization that we were 3 different entities, and the elementaries meet often, and then that leaves Courtney and I, who are kind of just in our own little bubbles. So it says we participate in setting the school district's vision and strategic plan for digital learning and foster culture of collaboration and innovation to empower teachers and learners. We realized that we could really learn a lot from each other if we met more often. So we kind of want to set a plan to meet with each other more often as a group of the 5 of us. We talked about becoming part of our school leadership committees and bouncing off of all of our teachers within our schools and doing that as well. So our goal is to enhance collaborative leadership and professional growth by attending the school committee meetings and implementing bi-monthly K-12 library media PLC meetings to foster communication and share best practices.
Any questions?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, any questions? So I'm assuming that this is already been being implemented or is
That's why
implemented.
2024 was our
Yeah.
end date.
Okay. Any other questions?
I will say, I've been in a lot of the libraries in the schools and they're very different than when I was a kid.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if you get an opportunity, check it out. I think anybody in the district that wants to see something interesting too, you guys do some pretty unique and innovative things, and especially at the high school with the bridges and all the programs that you guys got going on over there. It's media rooms and green rooms and all sorts of cool stuff. It's more than checking out books. I just think it's what you guys are doing is really cool. So I appreciate it.
Great.
And I also, it's a position that requires a lot of education. I believe it's one of the few, correct me if I'm wrong, but it requires a master's degree. And there's very few in the K-12 setting that require a master's degree or higher, but I just wanted to point that out. It's a lot of schooling to get to that point, all the diverse areas of them have to study and incorporate that technology integration and so forth. So thank you for all of your time and dedication.
Okay, thank you very much. We do need a motion to approve the plan that they just presented.
I'll move to approve the 2024-2027 Prairie School District Future Ready Library Plan as presented.
For a second.
I'll second.
So moved and seconded to approve the 2024 to 2027 Elkhorn Area School District Future Ready Library Plan. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to our 2025 summer maintenance projects.
Oh, I know how to empty a room.
Yeah.
Well, Nick's getting organized here. I'll just kind of prep this a little bit. Each year we put together, I say we, the buildings ground supervisor, does some of the work here, not all the work. Of maintenance needs for the school district. So we look at life safety, HVAC, roofing projects, hardscape, which usually means parking lots and playgrounds. And as part of the 24-25 budget, we put kind of a hold on all of those dollars and we wait for referendum results and such. And typically we allocate about 500,000. We built it into the budget, but we hadn't really moved forward yet. And I think as Nick and I and Jason discussed, we had some things we really felt we needed to address regardless of referendum results, because maintenance of the buildings is something I think we need to continue to work on. So we looked at what things could we get done during the summer of 25 and broke it down into two pots. One being this year, what could we get done by the end of June, this fiscal year, and what projects could we start on that would hit next fiscal year. So those are the kind of the two components, and then I'll turn it over to.
This fiscal year starts July 1?
July 1st, yeah, so that's why we kind of divided it up that way, and again, we wanted to see what, you know, at this stage of the school year, what projects realistically could we get quotes, bids, and get done?
Yeah,
before
by the end of
June
June,
30th.
okay.
And then we also started looking at roofing projects that we knew we needed to get done, that probably would be maybe in August. And we got bids, I mean, and actually tomorrow for those projects.
And I'm assuming the committee, building and grounds committee has met and reviewed this?
Normally, yes, but at this time of the year and with the committee not really being formed after
Yeah.
tonight's and Kevin going off because he was on the committee.
Yes.
We did not go through the committee process.
Okay.
We're bringing it to the full board.
Okay, all
Good,
right.
good question.
Yeah.
But you're normally, yes,
Normally,
that would go through.
Okay,
building.
that's what I thought.
Yep.
Right, so to add to what Bill's saying, giving a little bit of backstory on this, if you recall, when we met last fall, I kind of went over kind of a 10-year plan and what it was I was looking at doing in the next year. One of the things that we did was we created a hardscape plan. We brought in a consulting company that kind of walked our grounds and all that and identified the areas within our district that were the ones in the most dire need that needed to be addressed. The crack fill, the seal coating, and the striping of our curbs and all that type of stuff. That's something that's been kind of a deferred cost now for multiple years. And I mean, if you hover over some of the links that we have there, I took a picture of our maintenance lot that's out there by the softball diamonds. Because it kind of shows that you can't even see the lines in that lot anymore specifically. So we know that these are problems that are starting to surface district-wide that we need to identify as kind of safety issues that need to be addressed. So when we look at the, you know, the hardscape analysis there in general, right, that kind of pulls in multiple levels there because we know that that needed to be addressed. And then other areas here, this is Tibbetts, the back playground. There's some sidewalks that have deteriorated or becoming a hazard over there. And then the next picture that you would have is more of the large scale playground and back, and that's by kindergarten. Now, if you look down the left-hand side of the screen where the asphalt meets to pea gravel, it's all deteriorated away. It's all jagged edges going all the way around there, right? And that needs to be saw cut away so that we can ramp it in. So that the pea gravel stays in and we eliminate the trip hazards. And then we kind of work on resurfacing that back portion of the playground. And this is given obviously a brief overview. Unfortunately, that's not the worst section of Tibbetts when it comes to the playground areas. Those are in the middle section and the driveway leading to. But with that being all the way to the back, we need to do that first, all right? Because we can't drive over and get the equipment around back to fix it later. So it makes more sense to start in the back and work our way forward while still identifying some of the other problems that we have district-wide. So there will be multiple repairs that we look at doing in general. I know if you've been to the high school lately, you know that the entrance outside of, there's no picture of it right now, but The Casey's entranceway there is all falling apart. That would be another one that's kind of identified there. And what we're looking at here now is another one of our big ones. This is the back swale, that I like to call it in front of the purple shed. Backside of the athletic entrance and the purple shed over there. You look at the grass area that's in front of it. This is gonna be like a 3-phase type of project that we hope to get all resolved by June 30th, which is an absolutely ambitious project, but we have contractors that are on board with it, right? That grass area that you kind of saw in that first picture, we want to convert that into a snow retention area, right? So kind of straight ahead there, that would be snow retention. We get rid of that grass, it would become asphalt. It would be parking during our fall seasons and during our spring seasons. It only add like 5 or 6 spots, but the more important part there is it all gets dug up every winter, right? If we asphalt that, then we can push that snow out of the parking lot. And there's a drain basin that's kind of at the foot of that, that the water would be able to naturally flow to, which will help us eliminate this deterioration process here, right? And then we would come in, right? And then we're looking at milling the entire lot. I call it the north lot, right? And then we get that entire lot resurfaced, and this would be an entire new surface in the back, right? So we have the repair portion, which is the swale, right? Getting rid of the grass, right? In the athletic entrance walk. And then we have the repair portion that is just the parking lot itself, and that's the resurfacing of that, which is also going to allow us to restripe everything and maximize the amount of parking spots that we can actually fit in there, and kind of tie that all together with the addition that we had done, back in 2022, right, in those years, because it never got kind of finished off in there, right? And that parking lot itself is starting to deteriorate on its own. So if we go back up, and I know I kind of jumped the gun and went right to hardscape, the life safety items that you see on top, the fire panel upgrades that you see at the Jackson, the middle school and district office, those panels have they've lived their life, right? We can no longer get parts for them, so it's either address the issues now, right? Or hit them as a budget item in the middle of the school year, which is gonna put our systems down during the school year, which obviously we would like to be able to avoid. So this is just a product of our equipment is old. It's obsolete, we need to upgrade it, we need to get, right, to the technology that we need now, right? The deficiencies are just that. They're problems that we have within our fire systems right now that we need to be able to address, and concerns that we have so that we can get everything up to speed, right, and get us good to go. If you're wondering where the other schools are, well, because we don't have Westside, we don't have Tibbetts included, we don't have the high school, their panels have already been upgraded. That happened like 2 or 3 years ago. Right, so they're in a good position right now. So once we get these 3 buildings done, we should be, lack of better terms, to the 21st century, and we can get those online. The NAC panel situation that you see a little bit lower there under the hardscape is another life safety item. That kind of goes with the fire system upgrade. We've got 3 NAC panels, and these are the smaller panels that are kind of like in entrance ways, and they kind of communicate back to the master panel. Right, they're old, right? We can't get parts for them. The wiring's not even the same, so we can't even replace it. Right, this is just something that came to light, I'm gonna say 2 weeks ago. So once we get those NAC panels, it's simple for us. It was $5,000 to do 1, or $10,000 or $11,000 to do 3. Right, so for math purposes, we may as well, since they're already in there, get the entire building upgraded so that it's done. Right, we have newer NAC panels that were put in with our additions. Right, so we don't have to worry about those down the road. This will get us, again, the entire high school then will be up to par, and then we can change our focus to our secondary schools in future years. The only other things that you see in there are projects that we were already working on. The Tibbetts entry doors, this has been kind of an ongoing project that we have. We have to get the automatic door openers switched over so that we can get the entrance. Right now, if you look at Tibbetts, all 4 doors pop open. It sounds like you're in prison where, I mean, that's what Mr. Chalik has said, right? It's 4 chains. We need to get to 1 booth, right? It's going to be on the right-hand side, right? So that's where our admin assistants are sitting, so that they're in, which requires us to switch our automatic door openers, which are kind of broken anyway. So it's a reason to get everything upgraded, especially with us doing our door access system, so that it's just a nice armored system, right? Meant to be designed the way it is. So we'll move the door opener over. We'll move the call button over, and everything will be right there in front of Mrs. Osi and Mrs. Sykes, so that they can see the people that want to get in, right? And just a safer thing. The MC weather mapping, that's just, if you guys remember, we did our weather safe stuff that we've been kind of going through district wide, right? As part of that, because we're gonna get our National Weather Service certification, which will come in the next couple of months. Right, after we receive that, we need to update our mapping, so there's a fee that goes with updating our mapping. So that everything is going to the new routes, so that we have the safest areas identified for student, staff, and community during events that require it. The cafeteria, the booths, we talked about this one at a meeting here a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
We know they're in bad shape, right? We know that. We know that these are areas that we have to address because they agree. Essentially, it's not appeasing, right, for anybody in the community to come in.
Yeah.
So I know that Mr. Truen has been working on this a little bit with the vendor that we used when this stuff got put in. And we know that we're working on getting some pricing for that, but in addition to that, we know that we can move forward with ordering if we get approval of some black chairs to go to replace the booth, or gray, whatever color we choose. Right, and then we can work on trying to replace or repair some of this furniture. Did you have anything you want to add on the furniture, please?
The only thing, and I really don't even want to share it, but the cost for furniture is crazy. Those lounge chairs that are out in front of the high school, when we did that project in 2007, $554 was the low bid. Those similar chairs today are over $2,000.
What?
Yeah. So we're looking at other options, but that's
Yeah,
the price change.
I don't know that those have worn really well. So
Oh, no.
How long have we had those chairs?
Since 2017.
17.
Yeah, so they've been 8 years, but,
Yeah.
and we talked, we're still working with the manufacturer, because we think there were some faulty textile kind of choices on that, so that's part of the process we're going through. That's why I wanted to go back to the same vendor and say this is not right. So what we put in for a budget number is simply if we had to purchase those at that list price.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
because really, it's the upholstery on most of them.
Right.
More than anything
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
The frame
Are
and
there
everything else.
It didn't hold up.
alternatives to that upholstery? I mean, do we have to go with? that
no,
same-
what they're recommending, something almost you would see like in a doctor's office
Uh-huh.
or something more like in that kind of setting.
Yeah,
So there's a couple of different options we're looking at, but I haven't looked at that kind of furniture in years, to be honest with you, and
Yeah.
see the pricing. I know you can go online and find cheaper stuff, but
yeah.
it is cheaper stuff. So that's why I didn't want to share that one.
I don't think the booths fall under the same category. Like, that
No,
was a
the
different-
booths were about what, $6,000 or something like that for the chairs?
Well, it was like $8,000 for a pair, right? Like a booth,
That's
two
insane.
But the
sides.
chair replacement.
The chair replacement, we're only talking $6,000
Yeah.
total, or $6,600 total to convert booths over to chairs. So that's, you know, and we have put black chairs into the cafeteria as kind of a trial basis, and I've checked with Mr. Keel, and he's heard nothing positive or nothing negative about the chair swap that has taken place. You know, I know that the booths are probably more comfortable, as we saw, you sit there for about 30 minutes a day.
Have we looked at getting a bid from upholstery, like a reupholstery company? If that's viable or not?
We certainly could, but so many of the frames are broken, and they
Yeah.
can't be rebuilt, I mean,
They've
they're,
thrown some of them away. 'cause
Yeah.
they're broke.
and we can't fix them, I mean, so. We could, but I don't think that cost effective wise, yeah, I mean, it's just not gonna work out, so.
I think the key things, we know both need to be upgraded because they look awful. It's
Yeah.
just, what can we do at a reasonable price?
Are there other manufacturers that we
Oh,
can
yeah.
look at? Okay,
Yeah, we'll search other manufacturers
Okay.
as well.
The good thing about the chairs is if we get 100 chairs, 125 chairs, they're gonna be black stackable chairs that'll stack better than the metal folding chairs that we currently have. And if we choose to upgrade back to booths in 5 years, or if we budget accordingly for it, we'll have those chairs that we can use for years to come. That will be easier to store and take up less space, and we can put them into the gym. Right, whether it be for an orchestra concert or whatever we have, it'd be nicer chairs for students to sit on or for guests to sit on, so it'll work out well for the district to have them anyway, if we go that route. The automated logic software, there's nothing, you know, nothing cute about this, it's just we have to upgrade our software for of our automatic logic. Automatic logic is what our HVAC control is for all of our new addition areas. District-wide, which would be Tibbetts, would be the high school art wing, it would be over at West Side. We have two different softwares that we use. We have Johnson Control, which is our primary, and then Automated Logic is a secondary. So that's just an upgrade. It's kind of been a deferred cost. So we have to do it this May, or our brains will become obsolete, and then it'll be a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
So we may as well get it done before we're spending more. The water fountain, I mean, it's gonna be a sad day to see this bad boy go, but
Do not ask me how we got through the building remodel and the referendum. I was surprised when I walked by, because I mean, there was so much in that project,
Right.
and I walked by and I'm like, how do we still have the 1950s water fountain there? We took it down to tile around it, but we put the
We put it all the way
1950s
back.
water fountain back up.
Oh my
That's an
gosh.
original.
They're like, well, that wasn't in the scope of the referendum.
Project.
Oh my goodness.
eBay.
It sounds like it's like when the cooling water kicks on it.
So the reason we have to do, obviously, a combination of things, I can't really use it during the day because of how loud it is, and then if you're familiar with the school, and all, we also have the band wing that has
Yes.
two old porcelain
Oh my
water
goodness.
fountains there that don't even work. So the idea here would be the porcelain ones get pulled, we'll
Yeah.
box that in. We fix this one, and then the band wing has a water fountain with a bottle fill that's much closer than having to go either this
Oh,
way or
wait, so
that.
this one is staying, we're just fixing it?
No, we're replacing it.
Okay.
We're replacing it with a nice one with a bottle fill. It's going.
Yeah.
It's going. The only thing that we
Throw that
don't know is, and won't know until we take it out, is if the plumbing's coming through the wall or if it's coming through the floor. We're sure hoping that it's coming through the floor, it'll be a little less expensive.
Okay.
Through the wall, we'll have to jackhammer it open and lower it down, so.
That's probably why nothing happened to it during.
I think that's what was the original issue.
So we know it's probably in the wall. Thanks for- So, and then there's kind of a link there for the roof sections. The two roof sections that we're looking at right now are roof sections 10 and 11 over here at Jackson. They are originally 1993 sections. There's a 25-year lifespan on these from the manufacturer. Obviously, we're at 31, 32. And we're identified as the most problematic ones in the district. We've got a lot of buckets sitting up in the ceilings, for these in that are above the library. And as your library ladies would tell you, they do not want that water coming down into their
No.
equipment and supplies over there. So they've been identified as the ones that are in the most dire need, in the district. So that's kind of why we chose those. And then it's just simply a matter of getting those bids in and seeing where we're at financially. And then we kind of got a plan that's built, and it's not shown here going forward as to what our highest priority roof sections are, hardscape sections are, and so on and so forth. But I think as you guys can see that, I said this in the fall, my biggest thing is safety concerns, right? We have to be able to take care of those. We need to keep the building safe for, like I said, student, staff, community, our parking lots. Those are all high priorities. There's probably a lot of other things that we would like to be able to do, but the reality is these are the things that we have to start with and we have to move forward with them. So.
Were you wanting to go through the future projects, or were you just looking at this?
I think that for now, I mean, we can just stay where we're at for the sake of time. The future project list is always gonna keep growing. One of the biggest ones that's on there that's higher up would be, the pool doors are a big thing there. Sidewalk grading is a big thing. We have a lot of uneven sidewalks, the pool entrance doors, right? Front office entry, sorry, that asphalt job there, it kind of got taken off the list because if we're doing the roofs, they're gonna be offloading it, using their pick out in the front, right? We're not gonna redo that asphalt until we know that that project's complete, just doesn't make sense. Safety Step is a company that comes in and they'll give us an assessment on our sidewalks and all of our hardscapes, be able to either grade or replace slabs, pool entrance, doors falling apart. The auditorium, this is one that we'll definitely do, depending on what the number is. As we all know, our auditorium is very, very important to our entire community. We're hoping that the system is way past its life cycle, but we're hoping that if we just replace the shaft on there for between $8,000 and $15,000, right? Instead of spending $150,000, we might buy ourselves 10 years, right? Which is pretty significant and well worth the
effort to do this, so we're working on doing that. And then the pool air handler unit, we need to get it out of the basement. And we need to wait to get the numbers on that, because right now it just corrodes down there and the maintenance that we have to do, the upkeep on it. We just need to find a way to get it outside or up on the roof, because it's gonna be able to last, it's not even that old of a unit. But because of the corrosiveness of the area, it needs to be relocated, and then a lot of these are just the tennis court repairs. I know we've kind of talked about in the past, they've been cracking and opening, but we need to work that in. Reason that wouldn't be on the list right now is because we need to shut our courts down for 3 to 4 weeks. And with the lateness of putting it onto the summer docket, I don't think it would sit well with, can we have it done by the start of the high school season, and what sort of community activities are already planned out there for the summer? It would just be an unfair thing to do, so it would kind of slide into 25, 26.
I think typically those projects, now being the future project, would flow through the Buildings and Ground Committee, and that would be talked about. That level. It's just based on timing, we didn't do that this year.
Yeah. So what you're proposing for 2025 is the 390. Oh, and then the roof repairs would be on next year's budget, is that the 248.5?
And that still would leave a balance for next year's budget, because it isn't allocating the full amount.
Correct. Right.
You guys have any questions on any of those projects that we're proposing, or the why behind them?
I appreciate the pictures.
Yep.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
I can thank Mr. Truitt for that. He's a big advocate of getting pictures to be able to tell. Pictures help show the story.
Yeah.
I walk that Tibbetts parking lot every day, and that's real bad. So,
The area by the dumpsters is a big concern, but it's one of those that might have to wait. We can even look at it after July 1. But again, that middle section of that playground
yeah,
is terrible.
it's terrible.
It's terrible. It needs to be done, but that project can require grading all the way through that grass to be able to get that water running off in that place. That's a big one. So I wish I could, or I wish we could right now, but yeah.
I get it.
If there's no other questions, I'm looking for a motion.
I move to approve the 2025 summer maintenance projects as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the 2025 summer maintenance projects. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passed.
Got some work to do.
Excellent, thank you.
Maybe you have on that, might help.
After my cough, that's the first breather night.
Thank
I
you.
carry what comes, carry them with me all the time.
Thank you.
That's some vacation.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to the approval of the minutes from the April 14th school board meeting. We have closed and regular.
I'll move to approve the minutes of the April 14th, 2025 regular session school board meeting as presented.
Second,
Second. Third word.
it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the April 14th, 2025 regular session school board meeting. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre,
Yes.
Eric Gordon,
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll,
Yes.
Mrs. Costock. She can hear us. She was having some mic issues there. Mrs. Reckles,
Abstain.
Mr. Scarrow,
Yes, yes.
Mrs. Vaughn.
You would
You can abstain,
Yes.
yeah. Ms. Corpus
Yes.
and Mr. Jaime Sarabia.
Abstain.
Okay, looking for a motion on the closed session.
Kathy messaged me. She's a yes.
Okay.
I move to approve the minutes of the 2025 closed session board, school board meeting as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the April 14th, 2025 closed session school board meeting. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre,
Yes.
Eric Gordon,
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll,
Yes.
Mrs. Costock abstains. Mrs. Reckles,
Abstain.
Mr. Scarrow,
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn,
Abstain.
Ms. Corpus,
Abstain.
Mr. Jaime Sarabia.
Abstain.
Okay, moving on to general and other fund bills.
This evening's general other fund bills cover check number 154,938 through 155,054, wire transfers 156, and ACH numbers 769 through 800, and the combined amount of $276,064.75. Smaller
5 or 76?
76.
Okay.
Smaller list this evening. There's also a memo providing some additional information, and then a copy of the treasurer's report to the month of March is at the end of the bill listing as well.
Is there a reason why, this section of bills was so much lower than it normally is?
Well, last week we had a 3-week between, and then this time of year, a lot of the purchasing is kind of over
Okay.
with, so that's not unusual.
Okay.
So.
All right.
I don't have an objection to it, but would you explain the Walworth County CDEB?
Yes, so as you know, we have a county special ed program, Lakeland School, and as part of our agreement, all 15 school districts have with Lakeland School is there are federal IDA funds that school districts get from the federal government, flows through the DPI. And based on a per student amount, they're allowed to get a portion of those dollars, but then we serve as fiscal agents. So the DPI sends the money to us and then they bill us and then we reimburse them. So it's just an accounting process. So in a sense, that same process is going on with the other 14 schools in Walworth County.
Why is it set up that way?
Because the DPI didn't want to segregate the dollars and separate them between Lakeland School and the school districts, because their position was whatever you come up with the system on how you distribute those dollars, it's up to the county and the school districts.
Okay.
And they didn't want to get into the middle of figuring
Okay.
that out for us.
Okay,
And that happened back in 2005.
Okay.
So we've been doing it that way since. What's interesting though is because the number of students that we have in the program has been going down, so
Down.
the dollars that they're getting of our allocation is less and less.
yeah. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions? Okay, hearing none, then looking for,
Sorry, there's a question from Kathy. What is NRG business marketing?
That's our natural gas purchasing.
Okay.
Because we did a contract on purchasing natural gas based on locked-in pricing.
Mhm.
So that's the vendor then. So We Energy still serves as what's called the transporter of our natural gas, but then we pay for the actual natural gas to that. And we bidded that out. There are 3, BP, this company and another company were involved in that process back in November.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm able to track that each month. So compare it like, okay, we didn't do this program. How does it compare? And each month we've seen some savings, not significant, sometimes 2,000, 5,000, but over a course of the heating season. So far, it seems to be worth doing that. And it's really becomes more of just a budgeting control mechanism. So we kind of know what our price is going to be as opposed to the market when depending on the winter we have that could fluctuate greatly. So.
Kathy says, thank you.
Great, so looking for a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve the general and other fund bills of April 28th, 2025, check numbers 154,938 to 155,054, wire numbers 156, and ACH numbers 769 to 800, in the combined amount of $276,000, $64.76, as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the general and other fund bills of April 28th, 2025. Check numbers 154938 to 155054, wire numbers 156 and ACH numbers 769 to 800 in the combined amount of $276,064.76. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre.
Yes.
Eric Gordon,
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll.
Yes.
Mrs. Costock. That's a yes. Mrs. Reckles,
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow,
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn.
Yes.
Ms. Corpus,
Yes.
Mr. Jaime Sarabia.
Yes.
Motion passes. Moving on to our student representative report. My favorite part of the meeting.
Okay, there's a lot going on over at the high school right now. First of all, Wednesday is e-portfolio night, so you guys should look for that. And then DECA is currently at International, so the top right and then bottom right, I have some pictures of that. That's Keller presenting, and then they went to the Coca-Cola factory and Disney, so it's pretty cool. And then over this past weekend, there was also State Soul Ensemble for choir and band. And then recently the culinary program went to the Pro Star Kitchen Expo at this hospitality group over in Beloit. And they just got to learn more about like the hospitality industry and everything.
We're at the middle school on the 22nd was the fundraiser over at Culver's that went on from 5 to 8. Percentage of all sales were donated to the Elkhorn Area Middle School PTO. The two pictures in the middle are the Trailblazer Honor and High Honor Roll students. And then on the right, 6th grade students designed and built 10 picnic tables through the Picnic with a Purpose project. So some concerts going on at Jackson. On May 22nd, a Thursday, it's the third graders are presenting a patriotic tribute. And then about a week before that, on May 16th, Friday, I believe it's the first and second grader students are presenting Sunshine and Rainbows. The bottom left picture is a playground cleanup for Earth Day. And then on the top right, that's the 5th annual Joanne Schaefer invite. That's this Wednesday, going to the little track meet.
So what is the patriotic tribute? What are we doing with that?
Well, I'm pretty sure it's a concert.
Oh,
They're gonna
okay.
be
So it's
singing
just,
like choir.
okay, just the third graders are doing that though?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the left, I have a couple pictures of the gotcha winners from West Side, so those are the books that they picked out. And then there's also Taco Tuesday organized by the PTA. And then the 4th graders just recently did this wax museum fair thing, so the students just got to share their knowledge with the rest of the school about like the different people that they've been learning about. And then the 5th graders recently had an exciting opportunity to visit the high school as special guests, where they toured various classrooms and observed subjects like auto mechanics and greenhouse studies, culinary, woodworking, ceramics, and drawing. And they also had some fun, active time in the Agility Center, which was a super memorable experience that gave them a glimpse into the opportunities that they'll be able to take in the future. And then over at Tibbetts, Miss Burlington's 5th grade class had their class color day, so that's just a picture of that. The UW Extension 4-H over at through Walworth County got to teach them about how students can filter clean water and how it's made through the water cycle, and that was for like the 3rd grade.
So the Great Give Back that will be going on the 17th of Saturday. Volunteers are still needed for that. Big congratulations to Constance Palmer, a high school national champion for powerlifting. And then I know we went over this earlier, but those are some of the colleges that the students are going to, and it's still amazing to think about like all these different opportunities that they get through this school.
Did our girls powerlifting take 3rd in the nation? Did I see that as a team? At the nationals, I believe. I'd have to go and double check that, but
Yeah.
Constance is, national champion, which we had a national champion last year.
Yeah.
Who's powerlifting in college now, so.
That was in Milwaukee, I'm pretty sure. That's where it went on. For CCA, some important dates.
Jackie
May 9th
says woo-hoo. Sorry.
That's
Sorry, go ahead.
For May 9th, is the CCA signing day, and then May 28th is CCA graduation, so those are some dates to look out for.
What does that mean, CCA signing day?
I tried to find some information on it. I'm pretty sure it's about jobs or apprenticeship.
Oh,
I'm not too
okay.
sure.
Their commitments, like.
Yeah.
Got
we
it.
have the athletic.
Got it,
committees and
okay.
things.
And then on the left is a picture of Miss Esther's schedule coming up for these next couple months. And there's also some pictures of their last cowboy story time. And then they recently had this big event at the library. Where the 4K team, James North Honey Farm, UW Insect Ambassadors, and Miss Rand and her husband were there. And then also the Racine Zoo, and then obviously the library staff and everyone just got to mess around with a bunch of arts and crafts, learn about different types of animals and machinery with like the zoo and everything.
I just want to give a huge shout out to Ms. Esther for when you look at the pictures and the programming that's
Yeah.
going on. All of that's mobile. If you've never seen
Yeah.
her load her minivan up, it's
Yep.
quite the endeavor and the task, and she puts all that together, takes it to wherever the location is that they're doing the activity, and it's a lot of work and effort, and kudos to her for continuing that tradition here in Elkhorn.
Yeah. Libraries definitely don't look the same anymore.
No, not the same.
When I was a kid, cones set up in the library. It's crazy, but it's fun. Okay, thanks, guys. You always do a great job. First reading of the revised policy 469, school meal account charges and collections. Policy committee reviewed this at the last policy meeting. I think there's just, we had to change the language to be accommodating for so that students are never refused a meal because of an overdue or a negative balance, I should say, on their account. I think this was a federal change that we had to make, is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah.
In fact, when we had our food service review this year, it
Yeah.
came up and during
Yeah.
that, so I didn't think Ashley wanted to get that corrected.
Yeah, so we had to change the language to reflect that.
And she wanted to note that it was really a policy change in the language, but from a
Correct.
practice standpoint.
From a
that's the
practice
way
standpoint,
We've
we've
been
been
operating that.
doing that where no child was refused a meal.
They wanted to see it in writing.
But yes,
We set up, we used to give a cheese sandwich or a peanut butter sandwich and a milk.
Mhm.
Years ago, we set up the Angel Fund, which
Yep.
people contribute to online to help close the gap and cover the cost of those meals that
Mhm.
we aren't able to collect from, so we don't run a negative balance.
So just, this is just a first reading. We won't vote on this today. But if you have any questions or want to see further changes made, just let either me or Mr. Tyblock know, and we can review it at the next reading. Legislative committee structure. So we did review this at the last policy meeting. And I think we made a decision to keep it as, there had been some discussion as to have members of the community involved. And things like that, but we, I think, decided to be able to have more control over the committee. We're going to keep it as a board committee. So only, I think there's 3 board members, right? Is that what we said? 3 board members will be a member of that committee. And then
The rationale for that was if the board formulates like an ad hoc committee, you have to assign
Right.
like a specific task.
Yeah.
to report back to the board. This leaves it more open. And the legislative committee or the board could always, if there's a specific endeavor,
Yes,
direct or formulate an ad hoc committee in the future.
and the general public is always welcome to attend those committee meetings. And then the committee is free to allow the general public to make comments or things like that if they want to chime in and have participation in that. But they won't be formal members. It will just be a board committee.
So this is not an ad hoc committee.
It is not.
And is this a committee that we will need to approve?
We did.
We did.
Yeah, we already approved the committee at a previous meeting.
Okay.
The structure of it just hadn't been discussed.
Yep.
We discussed it at our last policy meeting. You're certainly welcome to, if you disagree or you feel free to comment now, on the decision that the policy committee made on the structure. I'm happy to hear other comments if you don't agree that it should remain just as a board committee.
Seems like all our committees are 3 board members, right?
Yeah, some of them are 2, I think, but I think most of them are 3. Oh, yeah, curriculum council is 2. Yeah, the committees, yes, you're right. The committees are 3, and then other representations are either 1 or 2. So moving on to school board committee assignments, we still have one board member who hadn't filled out the form, so I'm gonna allow that person to get that done, and then based on that, I'll have it for the next meeting, so I'm gonna table that one for now. Okay, moving on to personnel recommendations.
Personnel recommendation sheet is attached here. We have a number of retirements. Tim Franz, after 25 years with the school district, is going into retirement. He refused my offer to drive bus, but is willing to come back and sell. John Waltz, who's retiring at the end of the school year. I thought John was in his 40s, but want to congratulate John and thank him for his service. Ellie DeBoe will be retiring from our school district. She has accepted a position in Rockford, Illinois. The way the current law in Wisconsin is as of right now, you're not allowed to retire and work full-time. There is a bill going through the legislative process to allow current employees or state employees to retire, collect their annuity, and then get rehired at a district in the state and work full-time for 5 years is the proposal. That law seems to have some support, but Ellie's retiring and taking a position in Illinois. Anna Douglas is retiring as a teaching assistant after 20 years with the school district. So we want to thank all of them for their many years of service to the school district. And then we have a transfer, number of resignations down there in the coaching positions and some appointments as well.
Yeah, with those 4 teachers, that represents 70 years of service with the district, so that's pretty great. Thank you to all of those individuals for their dedicated service to our district. Looking for a motion to approve the personnel recommendation sheet.
I'll move to approve the personal recommendation sheet for April 28, 2025, including new employment contracts, conditioned upon passing background check and district mandated drug screen as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the personnel recommendation sheet for April 28th, 2025, including new employment contracts, conditioned upon passing the background check and district mandated drug screening. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. And then it looks like we have a couple of school gifts.
Yes, the school gifts this evening are the Nicholas D. Surgery Foundation's donated 200 t-shirts to the students and advisors participating in the Great Give Back Day on May 17th, valued at $2,020. And then the Holton Foundation has donated $1,000 to the Elkhorn Area High School Band Fund and $500 to the middle school band fund.
Thank you very much to both of those organizations. Both of them are amazing supporters of our school district and continue to support us annually. So just looking for a motion to approve or accept, excuse me.
I move to accept the generous school gifts as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
So moved and seconded to accept the generous school gifts. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Couple of announcements. We have our budget retreat on Wednesday, so sadly, none of us will be able to attend the portfolio presentations.
After they moved it for us.
I know, I feel terrible about that.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, it always used to be on a Monday. And we said, hey, could you move it to a different night so the school board members could attend? And then we ended up scheduling the budget retreat on that night, so.
What time do they start, do you know?
Said 5.
Yeah, basically the same time. So there will be.
Next year.
Yeah, exactly, next
Maybe
year.
we could have our seniors present their portfolio as part of their student report this time. So you can see what a portfolio
Hey,
presentation
that would
looks
be
like.
awesome. Would you guys be willing to do that?
Still juniors.
Oh, you're so.
Well,
Would you be willing to do that?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome, that would be great. So there will be some dinner available for the budget retreat. If you wanna come early, it'll be here by 4:30, but you can always eat during the retreat too, that's fine. Next policy meeting is being suggested for Monday, May 5th at 11 is,
I'm gonna be in a funeral week, so.
okay. And
Do we have committee assignments?
we don't have committee assignments yet, but just. Yeah, you're gonna be on that committee, so.
I accept.
So if you want
I'm out of town on the 5th.
Okay,
You wanna
so
look
the
at
5th is not
12?
gonna work.
Okay. With the 12th work? Or I can have Jody send out
I can do 12.
the wall.
I can do the 12th. Does the 12th work?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so let's set it for the 12th at 11. 11 a.m., yeah. All right. We do have a closed session, so just looking for a motion to adjourn to close.
I'll make a motion to adjourn to contemplate a closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85, 301 parent C. To discuss administrative positions and professional staff, compensation and contracts for the 2025-2026 school year. School board will not reconvene in open session. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn to the contemplated closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85, parent 1, parent C, to discuss administrative positions and professional staff compensation and contracts for the 25-26 school year. We will not reconvene in open session. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre.
Yes.
Eric Gordon,
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll,
Yes.
Mrs. Costock. Yes, Mrs. Reckles,
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow,
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn,
Yes.
Ms. Corpus,
Yes.
Mr. Jaime Stravia.
Yes.